Perfect. Well, now we're live again, once again this week. So today we are going to be talking about different pronouns in English, and it's something basic. However, a lot of people can confuse the words, especially with he and she, when it's him and her. That's a very common thing here in Spain. I know it's difficult, but at the same time, be simple, but it gets confusing sometimes. So we're just going to basically review everything. So it might be easy, might be kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I'm doing this wrong. so we'll check that out. Just hold on for a second. Oh, there it is. I'm like, I don't see it. It's right in front of me. Perfect. So here you go. So this is it. All right, so pronouns. And these, we're going to add a couple different ones in here as well, or maybe different things that you didn't know or don't know, you forgot. So, Mr. Ken, could you please do the honor of reading all of this for us, and then we'll go through it little by little, okay?
Okay. Here are some sentences with pronouns and the different reasons and ways of using them. 1. General pronouns. You have to be careful not to literally translate when you are learning a language. You equal to, in general, everyone. All of them? Reading all of them?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's fine.
One should never live beyond their means. One equals to a much more formal way of using you. They say it's much easier to learn a language when you're younger. They equal to a way of talking informally about other people in general.
Okay. So let's go through that again. Very good for pronunciation. So you. Basically, when I say, hey, you, I'm obviously talking to Ken at this point because you are the only one here with me. Now, if I say, you're all welcome to join me in the next class on Monday, etc., that is more of I'm talking to everyone. So it's more of a you plural sound or plural. Okay. Or if giving advice, you don't have to say you have to do this. You should just say, oh, when you go to university, you should study a lot, or you have to study a lot. Maybe not directing it to the exact person that you're talking to, but just in general. Everyone has to study a lot. Okay. So do you have any questions with that one, with the you pronoun?
No, thank you.
Okay. And you've obviously seen one used before, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah, and basically, as it says, it's just another formal way of using you. That's it. There's really nothing special about that. So, yeah, for poetry,
sorry. I also use one to neutralize the genders. So sometimes English is very kind of man-dominated language. So himself or so one he's something to express all all genders. So one of my English teacher in my university suggested me you can use oneself or one's opinion in such way too.
Absolutely. Well, that's a really good. I suppose I hadn't thought about that, but you are right. Like when you say, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Guys actually refers to men.
Right.
And actually, this could be a class one day of, how general or how common masculine, words are. When in English, for the female version of guys, we actually say gals.
Gals. Yes, I know. Yes.
Guys and gals. Yep. So
it is used in Japanese too. Yes. Nowadays.
Okay. Well, there you go. So that's one thing. And as a waitress, when I was waitressing, they always said, don't go to a table and say, "Hey guys, how is it going?" You should say, hi everyone, how's it going? so something like that. Well, good comments and good suggestions for everyone else listening as well. And the other part with they, this is something you can use they when it's singular or plural. And this is something I mentioned, something I talked about the other day with someone. Let me see. So, for example, I have to go to the bank. They told me to bring in all of my bank statements from the past year. They, even though I'm probably referring to one person, I'm not saying if it's a girl or a boy, singular or plural, but it's probably one person that told me. So that's another way of neutralizing the language. Okay. We can also use the reflexive, themselves, for example, and it's the same thing. So so that works. Good. Any comments or questions, Ken, about this?
No. Yes. Sorry. Maybe it is said and they say is. I think it's almost same nuance.
Yeah, when you say it is said, that's basically saying they say without using people as the subject. It's said, they say. There's really no difference except for the introduction part. They say it's much easier. It is said it's much easier. In this case, I would say they say only because we have it's. They say or it's. I'm sorry. I'm getting too many it's here. It is said that it's much easier. It doesn't sound as good. And so that in this case, I would say they say.
Okay.
But very good comment there. So with that, let's go down. Here we go. All right. So why don't you go ahead and read this last part here, just this first part, okay?
Okay. Their job always makes them pressed for time. They wanted to buy the business outright, and so that is what they did. It's easy to mistake them for their sister. They really look alike. Their they them equal to a gender neutral ways of speaking about somebody.
And this is exactly what I was just saying. So, if you don't want to use one all the time, have another option.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments with this?
No, thank you.
No, but do you think you could explain what pressed for time means?
Pressed for, where is it?
In the first line here, pressed for time.
They just always makes them pressed for time. Maybe makes them busy or makes them harsh. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, it basically means that they're in a hurry.
Hurry, okay, yeah.
Yep, they're in a hurry. So we have that. And then, okay, it says they wanted to buy the business outright. And so that is what they did. Can you explain outright? Do you know what that means?
Outright sounds like copyright.
It does, but it's not the same.
Business right for the business or something. Outright.
No.
Buy outright sounds like copyright or such things, legal issue. No?
Well, just because it sounds the same, Ken, doesn't mean it is. So, outright basically says they wanted to buy it in that moment, or outright, I should say, like, it's really actually hard to describe this one. If I go to your business and I say, hey, can I buy your business? That's kind of buying it outright and buying everything that goes with it.
Like now Yahoo kind of Yahoo America is almost ended. So But Japanese Yahoo is very vital because one company bought the business, Yahoo business from Yahoo.
Oh,
Such things.
okay. Sure.
So the interface of Yahoo is exactly the same, but it is run by that company, not Yahoo now, probably Yahoo Japan.
Right. So yeah, for example, any big company that wants, like Starbucks, for example, hopefully I can say that. Starbucks wants to expand in some country, and so they buy that. It actually happened here with one of the coffee chains. There were a lot of different coffee shops. Okay,
Yeah.
different owners, different people, etc. And one company came to exist, and they basically said, okay, I'm going to buy these 6 different cafes with different owners, and I'm going to buy them outright, and I'm going to keep the employee, and I'm just going to change the name, basically. So now there's a coffee shop chain here in town, but he bought the businesses completely with, again, even the same employee to work there.
Right. Okay.
So all of the materials, and they did a little remodeling, updating, things like that.
Okay.
So that's when they buy outright. It's buying everything. Well, now that we got that done, now on to reflexive pronouns. And those can sometimes be difficult just because in English we don't use them nearly as much as, well, in Spanish, for example, because I have experience with that. So in Japanese, do you use reflexive pronouns?
Yes. So it's
Okay.
easy to understand for us. Yes.
Okay, good. Do you use them a lot or a little?
Actually, Japanese structure, subject or object things often are omitted, so less than English, but I use sometimes.
Okay, good. Well, if you would like, why don't you go ahead and read these 2 examples that we have here on the page, okay?
Okay. I was very pleased with myself as I dreamed up business for a new venture very quickly. Equal to we use reflective pronouns when the subject and the complement are the same. I sat down beside her equals to we usually use reflective pronouns after preposition, but not preposition of place.
Okay, so do you have any questions with this?
I sat down beside her. We usually use reflective pronouns after preposition, but not. So I sat down beside her is not a reflective pronouns, right?
No, because you aren't her. If you said I sat down beside herself, it's not reflexive. I believe what you would be saying is next to her body with that word self. It is not the same. And so, as I say in the first part, we use reflexive pronouns when the subject and complement are the same. You can say, I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased. I'm very happy with myself because I got a great mark on my test or a great grade or something like that. She was very happy with herself because she made a beautiful birthday cake, for example. Okay, so that's one way that we use reflexive pronouns. It has to be the same. I think that's it. And so is the second part, we usually use reflexive pronouns after prepositions, but not the prepositions of place. Because in the first sentence, pleased with is a preposition. But because in the second example, I sat down beside her, we're talking about a physical place. And so that's a preposition of place. Okay? All right, good. And because we use pleased with. I'm very pleased, or I'm pleased with something. And that's something, I'm very pleased with the ideas I had for my business. So we don't even have to use myself in this case, but all right, good. Should I continue?
Yes.
All right, let's see here. Okay, so if you want, you can go ahead and read these examples here, okay? All of them.
Okay. He shaves every other day, not he shaves himself every other day. We don't use reflective pronouns with verbs like shave, wash, feel, concentrate, relax. They design the house themselves, because to emphasize the subject. They bought the house by themselves. Buy plus reflective pronoun equals to alone.
Good, and this is something that's a common mistake with Spanish speakers. And I always refer to them because I'm here and that's the only experience I have. And so they design the house themselves. Again, this is just saying they did it. You could say they designed the house. And that's it. You don't have to say themselves in this case. All right. And they bought the house by themselves means, yep, they didn't have any help from a bank or their parents or anything like that. All right. And one thing that is difficult because, for example, in Spanish, they use reflexive pronouns for everything. If you say I'm going, they use one. I have to do something, sometimes they'll use it. And so it's really a lot in Spanish. And so when people come to me and say, you don't use reflexive pronouns, I say, yes, we do. We just use them in a different context. So it's a little bit of a problem sometimes. But did you have any questions or anything, Ken?
Yeah, so I didn't know that it is not used like shave, wash, some specific verbs. Yeah.
Well, I think just because you don't hear them being used in with these verbs, I'm assuming that you think if someone says he shaves himself every other day, how do you perceive that? How would you think of that? Do you think it sounds okay? You're not sure?
No,
Every
because
day.
I've never heard this sentence before.
Exactly.
So yeah, it doesn't sound fine to me.
Okay, exactly. And so when those things happen, you're like, wait a second, that doesn't sound good. I'm not going to say that anymore. So so that's kind of part of the language is just, practice. Just lots and lots and lots of practice.
Right.
Well,
So
good.
if I say I concentrate myself for the meditation, sounds strange.
I have to concentrate myself.
To meditate.
Right. I would say I have to concentrate myself on meditating.
Oh, okay.
I have to concentrate on meditating. Yeah, I wouldn't say that just because it's obvious who's doing the concentrating. It's the subject in this case, it's I.
I see.
Yeah, it sounds strange for me. I'm trying to think if there's any kind of case. She is relaxing herself. No. She's concentrating herself on no. And then we shave, wash, and feel. She's washing herself. I suppose you could with wash. It's not common. She's washing herself. She's taking a shower is probably the best way to say that, or having a bath. So yeah, I think that's it. And like is actually after this is a semicolon. It should be a normal colon, which just means they're making a list of verbs. Okay. So like is not included in that.
So if I say I like myself, is it strange?
No, that's okay. And that's what I'm saying here. This like is substituting like for example.
For example, like, yeah.
Yeah. So we don't use reflexive pronouns with verbs such as shave, wash, feel, concentrate, relax. So this like is not included in the verb list.
Okay, I got it. Yes.
Okay,
Verbs
good.
like.
I mean, for example, I love
Yes.
that's okay. It's a little confusing. But yes, this is, for example, I love myself. You know, I know who I am, I know what I want, I love myself for who I am and what I do, etc. Then yeah, of course you can. But generally,
That's why semicolon. Yeah, you use semicolon there.
well, I would have used a colon, 2 dots, just because a semicolon basically separates 2 full sentences, and shave, wash, feel, concentrate, relax is not a full sentence. So to
Okay.
me, this is incorrect.
Okay.
I am,
Maybe colon should be better. Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Colon is good in this case. Yes.
exactly. And next year, as we're almost into the next year, in 2008, I will be doing a punctuation class. I want to say in January, but I'm not sure. So it is coming, I promise. I have all of these ideas, but I only have 2 classes per week. So, so we're doing good. All right, let's go ahead and move down here. Okay, whoops, too far. Reciprocal pronouns. Why don't you go ahead and read these, please?
Okay. They bought each other presents. They helped one another with their homework. Each other, one another equals to a does action to B and B does same action to A.
Okay, good. So, do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so if I say they bought each other presents, that means, for example, my parents. My mother bought a present for my father bought a present for my mother. So they bought presents. They bought each other presents. And you can also put it at the end. They bought presents for each other. However, they helped one another with their homework. I don't think you can change. I don't think, no, that one doesn't work for me. If you change, they helped with their homework. No. Terrible. We need a subject. They helped, and then the subject. Okay. And then the last one, in this case, each other and one another. Basically, what they mean is what you said. One person does something for someone else, that someone else does something for the other person. So we say reciprocal because it's reciprocated between the two people. To reciprocate means to do something that someone else did to you. If that makes sense, to imitate someone else's actions. Have you heard of the word reciprocate?
No, what is that? Reciprocal. No, I've never heard of this word.
Okay. Do you know the word likewise? Likewise?
Yes.
Okay, similar, like they do this, they do likewise. They do the same thing. They do it in the same way.
Okay.
Oh, this is crazy.
So first they helped each other with their homework. Same meaning or different meaning?
They helped each other, yeah, with their homework. Exactly. Maybe, for example, when people want to learn a language, they use a tandem. Okay, a tandem. And so what they're doing is they're reciprocating to each other. They're helping each other learn one language. So one person wants to learn English, but they're a Spanish speaker, and vice versa. We have an English speaker who wants to learn Spanish. So when they get together, they're reciprocating because they're doing the same thing to the other person. by teaching their native language, which is the second language for that person.
Mhm.
Do you see that? Do you understand that example?
You mean language? Sounds like language exchange site or something.
Exactly. Yeah, it's basically that. But for example, if I wanted to learn Japanese, I'd say, "Hey
Mhm.
Ken, let's get together. We'll do a tandem." Okay, a
Mhm.
tandem is a big word for language exchange.
Mhm.
And so when you teach me Japanese and I teach you English, we're reciprocating because we're literally doing the same thing to the other person.
Mhm. So each other and one another is the same meaning
Right,
to
just
receive.
sometimes a different structure.
Okay.
For example, they bought one another presents. I wouldn't use it in that context. It sounds bad. They bought each other presents. They helped
Okay.
one another. They helped each other with their homework. That sounds okay. So I'm just going to say
I see.
sometimes yes and sometimes no because I've never truly, truly studied the differences, between each other and one another. So
Maybe sometimes collocation is not good much.
yeah, and I
Okay,
think
I got
that's
it.
it. Or maybe, as you
Mhm.
said before, maybe you've never heard the word before, you don't
Mhm.
know it, so therefore you're not going to know.
Mhm. Okay.
So, all right, good. What about the fourth part? It and there.
Okay. It's going to be warm next weekend. It's time to get going or we'll be late. It plus B equals to talk about weather or time. Yes.
And this it we've spoken about before. I think in general speaking, this is not
Mhm.
anything. I did do it once, I think. This is a C1 level grammar part of grammar. Okay. It refers to the situation.
Mhm.
Okay. It's time. Generally, we're going to be late. So it is time. It's the time. Yeah, to get going or we'll be late right now in the moment. And it's going to be warm next week. It again is the same thing. It's going to be warm. It's in the future.
Mhm.
The situation of next weekend. The weather.
Mhm.
Okay. Any questions there?
No, thank you.
Okay, good. Well, let's move down and we'll talk about there. So once again, you can read for us, okay?
Okay. There is a big theater on the corner of my street. There were far too many people in that party. There plus be plus now equals to talk about the existence or presence of things or people.
Okay, question
My
before I skip.
street, the people can own the street? My street.
No, no, no. They're just saying that that's the street that they live on.
Ah, okay, I got it. Yes, I got it. Yes.
So your address is your street, basically.
Mhm. Okay.
Anything else?
B plus now. Yeah. I think I got this concept. Yes.
Okay. And we also, there is, there are, there were, there was. So we have different, there have been, for example, the present perfect tense of the verb to be. So we can use this in all different tenses, okay? And so I just wanted to show that.
Mhm.
Okay. I think the meaning is relatively understandable, and that's basically it. All right.
Mhm.
So let me go down. Okay. So multiple choice can decide which of the words in italics is correct. Both
Okay.
answers may fit.
You should be careful when driving in bad weather. One should be careful when driving in bad weather. I, s- in general, you is used in this sentence.
Why?
It's I think both are okay. In the formal situation, one can work, but usually maybe you should is used in a colloquial way.
Okay, well, I'm going to agree with you that both of these sound good. Again, one will be more formal, and you, I think you sounds best just because when you give advice, we normally use the modal verb should. So you're going to be directly talking to someone in this situation when this is said. Or you're going to be saying it in a group. Maybe a situation happens, someone got into an accident, and they say, well, you should be careful when driving in bad weather. And that is not directed at a person, but in general. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. What about the second one?
They couldn't afford a gardener, so they did the garden by themselves. They did the garden by themselves.
By themselves is your final answer?
Yes.
Okay. And I do agree with that because they're doing it alone. They didn't have outside help.
Right.
Okay. So very good. What about the next one?
They bought presents for they bought each other presents for Christmas.
Okay. Yes, I agree with that. So what does that mean?
They bought the Christmas presents each each same word. Yeah, in both way, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, well, I definitely understand that. The thing is here is that actually these pronouns have different meanings. So if they say they bought themselves presents for Christmas, for example, I go shopping with you, Ken, and they're talking about us. Basically, I bought gifts for me, gifts for yourself. So we're buying gifts for for us, and I didn't buy anything for you. And same, you didn't buy anything for me. The difference. So if we say they bought themselves, they bought gifts for themselves. And if you say they bought each other presents, then you did exchange gifts.
So if I said they bought themselves present for Christmas, so they bought Christmas present for themselves, right?
Not for anyone else.
Yeah, that's strange, but yeah, makes sense. Grammatically makes sense. Yes.
In English, it's called greedy. So vocabulary words today. And each other is sharing. Sharing is caring, my friends. All right, we'll just put that there. Good. All right, so that one's clear now, right?
Okay. Okay.
All right, good. Why don't you read the next one, please?
There was a lot of noise from the neighbors last night. They are first there. First.
Exactly, because they both have the same pronunciation. Good. And I agree with that. Why did you choose that one?
Because there was meaning completely different, also strange. I mean, grammatically there was that sounds fine to me. Yeah,
Okay.
totally grammatically wrong. If I say if I use second there.
Right. Yeah, the grammar is completely off. If we substitute that second there for a different pronoun in that same category, we could say her was a lot of noise. His was a lot of noise. It just doesn't, one was a lot, it doesn't make sense. And so we need the other there. Exactly. Talking about the situation and what happened. All right, good. Why don't you read the next one for us?
Either John or Jane left there his umbrella in the class. In this case, his.
Why?
Because either one of them, the one person,
And Jane
not
is a
plural.
boy or girl?
girl. But that's a problem what I said at the beginning of the class. One's
Okay,
umbrella
well,
is better. That's not common.
Well, I'm actually going to burst your bubble on this one and say it's there. Either John or Jane left their umbrella in class. We can't use his because we have both a female and male.
Okay.
So I
So, oh my
understand where you're
God.
going, but
Mhm.
nope, not yet. Where is it? Come here. Eh? This one. They, they, them. Say that 3 times fast, Ken. A gender-neutral way of speaking about somebody. Again, this is when I commented that we can use singular or plural in this case.
Okay, tricky. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Even if we say John left, well, we wouldn't say that. We know it's a boy. Alex, which is a gender-neutral name in English, Alex left their umbrella in class. You want to say there because you're not really sure if Alex is a boy or a girl.
I see.
Okay. Also, honestly, probably with transgenders and things like that, they might what's the word? Prefer. I was like prefer their over his or her as well. Also, the gender neutral people that don't identify. So it's more complicated, but in general, in this case, we would use John or Jane. Okay. With left their umbrella. Is that new to you? How do you feel? I feel that you're not satisfied again.
I'm thinking about the meaning of either. Either John or Jane means both of them or one of them.
One of them.
Okay, I got it. Yes.
Because we're using or.
Brilliant. I think using one's is grammatically better. One's umbrella.
Because you understand it the best.
Yes. Okay.
Either John or Jane. You can say either John. No, we still need the or. If you say both John and Jane left their umbrella, we still need their.
Yes.
So in this case, if we say either John or Jane, only one of them did it. Obviously, John and Jane did it.
Right.
Wow, it seems like a
Either
tongue
or
twister.
is Either or is one of them. Yes.
Yep, either or, neither nor, both and.
Right.
Good. All right, why don't you read any last questions?
No.
There's a lot of grammar in that one tiny sentence. The shortest sentence of these examples is the most complicated. But that just goes to show that there's so much grammar in everything. In every single word, there's some kind of grammar. So it is important.
Yeah.
All right, so read the last one for us, please.
We had a whale of overtime last weekend at the beach as it was good weather. As it was good weather.
Okay, I agree. And so we have to talk about some other things in this sentence, don't we? We had a whale of a time. What's
maybe it's a idiom long we had maybe long hours or long time.
Oh, well, we had a whale of a time just means that we had a great time. Last weekend at the beach.
Okay. Yes, I got it.
I thought it was funny just because you're at the beach and at least, well, I mean, even in Spain, I guess you're not going to find a whale. But a whale is in the water, and so to me, it was kind of funny. Do you know what a pun is? Oh, that one's going to be hard to explain.
Yeah, pun is popular gag here. Yeah.
It's popular what?
Gag, joke.
Okay. Okay, gag, yeah. A popular joke. Yeah, it's kind of like a play on words, where you're using it's like, oh, we had a whale of a time at the beach. Ha ha ha. Because whales are at beaches, for example. So, things like that. Actually, that would be a great class to do. A play on words. And I'm actually going to write that in my schedule. So we have another slide here. Let's go down. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't even talk really about that sentence. We had a whale of a time at the beach. As it was good weather, we use it with the weather. They're pretty simple.
Great.
I think it's common for people to say there was good weather, but it's not correct.
Wow. I think
It.
okay, there was some strange.
What do you think? What do you think
Yeah,
again?
yeah. Maybe native speaker didn't say such things, right? Maybe some species speakers maybe tend to say that maybe their native language, maybe they might use their words for time difference or something, probably.
Yeah, and honestly, this is just because native speakers don't speak correctly. I mean, I don't know if it happens
Oh,
to you
really?
in
Native speaker said so.
right. Well, I think
Okay.
hopefully I've said this before because I definitely I definitely believe this. I know that people don't speak correctly, and that's one of the things that's difficult because I didn't learn how to I didn't know about grammar until I was here in Spain, and people speak incorrectly. I even saw on Facebook
Yeah.
today I should have took the day off work, and I was like, you should have taken, lady, come on, just let's try and speak correctly here. So
Because native speakers speak in their language according to their feeling, so they don't need
yeah.
to study grammar. So the grammar explains the feeling of them, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So feeling is changes according to the time. So language is alive. So people inventing new new expression all the time, and some
Exactly.
expression remains, and then maybe grammar follow that and to explain that,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's actually, let's stop. Well, I'm going to stop this. We'll have to finish this presentation a different day because I like this conversation. And it's true. I mean, I don't speak correctly, or I try to. But other times too, when you're speaking, you're thinking about something and all of a sudden you get to a point and think, no,
Mhm.
something else. Or my structure has to change in order to say what I'm looking for. And so it can't, people, one thing happens and another thing and another thing, and your words change and your structure changes. And so, of course, we don't speak perfectly. About that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Same thing for my Japanese teaching to my friends. He always explains the reason why, but I cannot explain. my, Sometimes it's very difficult to rationalize my feeling. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
that's
mhm.
just life. People make
Right,
mistakes,
right.
and I mean, speaking is just one
Also,
thing, and
maybe if the one people says so, it could be a mistake. But if the many people or you know most people say so, it could be a correct English, correct usage. Become
exactly. And when
so live. Mhm. I'm
I
sorry, go ahead.
agree. And for example, when I was studying here in Spain 10 years ago now, when I was very young, one of the teachers actually said, don't repeat what the natives say. Listen to
Mhm.
us in class,
Mhm.
and we need to talk about grammar, the conjugating verbs, the subject verb things, and everything else. I said, don't listen to them because they won't speak correctly, and they don't. And that
Mhm.
happens in probably every language. The difference
Mhm.
is that when you understand your grammar,
Mhm.
etc.,
Mhm.
then you know if you're speaking incorrectly or not. Those that don't learn grammar, which is 99% of them, all of those who are not English teachers probably don't know grammar. And so that's the difficult part. And Now when I go home, I hear, that's not right. Or they use go instead of come. And you know, it happens in English too. It happens for pronunciation. It's difficult. We sometimes say the incorrect word.
Right.
That's life.
Yes, that's
So,
right.
well, good. Well, why don't we start talking about next class? Let me just see. Today is the 22nd. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so I'm preparing
Oh
some
yeah,
things
that's
for
right.
Thanksgiving.
Black Friday is approaching.
And that's why, because Thanksgiving is tomorrow.
Is it big in Spain too, or?
Oh, it's getting big in Spain. They have Black Friday all week. And I'm like, Black Friday's on Friday. You can't have Black Friday all week.
Yeah.
It's
I went to the shopping mall, today, and it started last year, so it's relatively new. So nobody still don't know what Black Friday is here. But they're saying pre-Black sales now. That's funny, but anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so more deals and specials, that's fine. Yeah, no, here it's been popular for a couple years and it's just increasingly popular, but they do it wrong, so
I see.
sorry, Rafa, if you're watching this. So, well, with that, let's talk about tricky words on Monday. Okay, so difficult words that are similar but different and things like that. So that'll be on Monday. So make sure you have your thinking cap on, and we'll talk about that on Monday, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
For now, yeah, very welcome. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Thank you.
All
See
right,
you.
bye. You're welcome.